Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9.
Hey, good Thursday morning to you, the 5th day of November. And, well, I don't know about you, Spence. Good morning to you, but I haven't slept yet. I'm still at the election desk.
You look marvelous considering you haven't slept in 3 days. You have not even taken a break to go to the bathroom.
Well,
I don't know how you're doing it.
Well, you just never know when these returns are going to come in. You never know when the votes will make a change, so you just got to be sitting there waiting.
Oh, my goodness. That's right. Anytime now.
No, we may find out today who will cross that threshold of 270 electoral votes and become the next president of the United States. It appears that the pathways to the presidency are a little easier for Vice President Biden than current President Trump, but you never know until all the votes are counted. We'll have updates from ABC News throughout the day. What's going on in the weather?
More rain, boy. We're just getting soaked, but it feels good. Steady rain this morning, showers continuing through the afternoon. We should get near a quarter of an inch today with about 90% chance of rain through the day.
Nice. Well, on the show today, City Manager Jeff Niten will be on to talk about the search for that police chief who was announced earlier this week. Carol Beeson from San Diego looks likely to start here in Shelton in the first part of January of 2021. And Billy Thomas is on today, publisher of Oly Arts, talking about the arts and the struggles that the industry has seen since COVID began. A lot of folks know Billy around town as well.
Washington State Schools Chief was reelected with a comfortable lead after Democrats hit the panic button late in the campaign over the nonpartisan race. Chris Reichdahl, the incumbent state superintendent of public instruction, won another four-year term in the November election, winning 56.68% of the vote over challenger Maya Espinoza. Reichdahl, 48, of Tumwater, campaigned on his experience as a longtime educator and state legislator to be the steadying force needed to help the state's nearly 300 public school districts navigate the public health crisis that's prompted most schools to go online for the foreseeable future.
In Mason County, no changes after the additional counts last night. Commissioner Netherlands still leading over challenger Ted Jackson, Tom Farmer ahead of John Coman in the District 2 PUD3 race. In the 35th, Dan Griffey and Drew McEwen continue their leads. Turnout in Mason County sits at about 83.41%. There's just a handful of votes left to count, and that will be with the final count on the 23rd.
Republicans have lost one of the two statewide elected positions they held in Washington state. Incumbent Secretary of State Kim Wyman was holding off Democratic State Representative Gail Tarleton with more than 52% of the vote, but Treasurer Dwayne Davidson lost to his Democratic challenger, State Representative Mike Pellicotti. If reelected to a third term, Wyman would continue a more than 5-decade trend of Republicans holding that office. She is the fifth Republican to hold the office since 1965, and with Democrats appearing to reclaim the Secretary of State's office in Oregon in Tuesday's election, Wyman would be the only Republican statewide elected official on the west coast of the contiguous U.S.
Isn't that something? Mason County Public Health notified of 5 additional Mason County residents testing positive for COVID-19, total now 594. A couple more free days coming up for the Washington State Parks and Recreation Commission. One's coming up on the 11th for Veterans Day, and then the final one will be on the 27th. That is the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, November 27th. These are opportunities to get out and visit a state park in autumn. It is beautiful. Just driving around, seeing the leaves change and everything, it's beautiful out there.
It really is. I finally used, I hate to say it, we finally got the Discover Pass. Used it the other day when I took some of the kids up to Port Townsend. We went to Fort Worden and the Point Wilson Lighthouse, and it was cold, obviously jacket weather, but just a beautiful, picture-perfect day. It was a postcard day, and used that Discover Pass, so people ought to get those and use them. And, of course, take advantage of the free days as well and see what they're missing. Washington's ocean beaches will remain closed to razor clam harvest until at least December after test results on razor clams dug at Long Beach, Twin Harbors, Claylock, and Copalis indicate levels of domoic acid that exceed the threshold, which is 20 parts per million, set by state public health officials for safe consumption. Domoic acid, a natural toxin produced by certain types of marine algae, can be harmful or fatal if consumed in sufficient quantities. For information about domoic acid as well as current levels at ocean beaches, you can go to WDFW's domoic acid webpage by searching for that. And that's a shame. I got the taste for razor clams, and now I just want to eat them all the time. So it's sad. We're going to have to put them on hold for now.
You're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that one. Yesterday after the show, we took a trip down to Portland, just a real fast trip. We had to deliver a tinsel flying Christmas pig to my cousins. We both share an affinity for strange Christmas decorations. We happened to find one and get it down to him. And then we stopped off at my brother-in-law's house, pick up his mail and some things like that. And we were down there, and it is, I used to live down there about 20 years ago, not in Portland proper, but that area.
Sure.
And man, it's changed. Apparently the mayor did get re-election. Ted Wheeler said Wednesday he had more than 90% of the vote counted. Looks like he will continue to be the mayor in a tough city. It is hard to govern down there. The first mayor to win a second term in nearly 20 years down there in Portland. And you and I were talking before the show started, as you drive down I-5 and then start heading into Portland proper, there's a lot of opportunity for them to clean up some of the parts of town. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no, I remember it when I was in college, which was a million years ago. And I used to use Portland as an example of a city that, you know, the downtown was clean and spotless and no graffiti and it seems safe and everything. And it's got that big city growing pains over the decades. And as we've seen in other cities, you got to keep control of that or else you're going to lose it. And it's hard to get it back.
You know, I'm not quite sure if it's just because of the geographical landscape of Portland, where it's stuck against the side of the river there on one side, and then there's the West Hills, Cornelius, that whole area. I mean, there's kind of a mountain, not mountain range, but there's a hill range on one side and a river on the other side. So people are pretty tight packed in there. I wonder if that has something to do with it as well. There's not the opportunity really for a lot of the big sprawl from the central business district.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's a beautiful city. Good people there too, and hopefully it'll get back to its glory days. Washington State's Max Borghi is among the top returning running backs in the Pac-12 this season. He'll have to adjust to a new offense under new coach Nick Rolovich. The challenge for all of the Pac-12's returning rushers is reaching a 1,000-yard mark in just 7 regular season games. Borghi said he didn't opt out or think about transferring out of the league. Oregon's C.J. Verdell said the same. Oregon State's Jermar Jefferson hopes to reclaim his freshman productivity, while Colorado's Alex Fontenot has been sidelined before the season starts.
We'll have Cougar football for you coming up Saturday as they are in Oregon State. And that'll be the first game of the season for the Pac-12. California and the Huskies are supposed to have a game Saturday night, but that is in jeopardy now after a positive COVID test on the Golden Bears has caused what Coach Justin Wilcox says a significant number of players now need contact tracing. Practice limited for the Bears. The player who tested positive is asymptomatic. We'll find out what happens this upcoming weekend, and this is what there's been a lot of conversation about, whether or not, the NBA, they did very well for themselves, but they told all the players and staff and the refs, listen, you're living in a bubble in Orlando for the next blank many months, 4 months or whatever. You're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to do anything. It's hard to have those same restrictions with youth and collegiate athletes It's not the same. They're not making millions of dollars where they can take those months and be away from their families and be in a bubble like that. So this weekend will be a big test 2 weeks down the road to find out whether or not there's been any major COVID implications.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I remember seeing a story about how a lot of these college athletes, a lot of them are just, the expenses of school, and a lot of them have scholarships, of course, but a lot of them don't necessarily. And it is a big strain. They can't get away with, taking a few months away from reality the way the pro players can. Carlos Dunlap cleared COVID-19 protocols and had his first practice with the Seattle Seahawks following his trade from Cincinnati. Dunlap hopes he can be the missing piece that will turn the Seahawks from having the best record in the NFC to possibly being Super Bowl favorites. Dunlap should help a pass rush that ranks in the bottom third of the league with 12 sacks. Dunlap spent 11 seasons with the Bengals, but said his time was up, and the chance to join a contender is a great opportunity at this point of his career.
That's awesome. Well, we'll hear what happens this weekend as the Hawks are in Buffalo taking on the Bills Sunday morning with a pregame at 8 and the kickoff at 10. Seahawks presented by Shelton Health and Rehab, Riviera's Shellfish, South Sound Appliance, Dogtown Grooming, Neil's Pharmacy, and the Shelton Athletic Club. Again today on the show, City Manager for the City of Shelton, Jeff Niten, for our Focus on Shelton, presented by Our Community Credit Union. And Billy Thomas talks about the publication of Oly Arts and the struggles the industry has seen since COVID began. All that and more coming up today on Daybreak.
From the iFiber1 News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show. Time for us to focus on Shelton, presented by Our Community Credit Union. Jeff Niten here, City Manager. Hello, Jeff. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
So let's talk a little bit about the Shelton Police Chief search. I understand we've got some news.
We do. We have made a selection, and Lieutenant Carol Beeson from the San Diego Police Department is going to be joining us on January 11th.
Wow. That's exciting.
Yeah, we're very happy about her selection, and she accepted the position, and we can't wait to have her come up and join us.
Very cool. And January 11th, so it's almost a year back from when Chief Moody first came to you and says, I think this could be my final year, and I'm giving you quite a long notice here. And I can imagine in January, you never would have thought that the process would have taken you through how it unfolded.
It did. Chief Moody gave me a very long notice, and I was extremely happy about that and appreciative. He's been a tremendous asset to the city for quite a while, and we're going to miss him. But we wanted to make sure the transition was seamless, and I think we've accomplished that even during COVID. Our process, most of the time when you select particularly a police chief's position, you have community open houses, you have all those different types of community events to get input. Obviously, we weren't able to do that this year because of the pandemic, but we were able to come up with a very innovative way to include the community in the process, and I want to extend my profound thanks to Michelle, our Administrative Services Director, Tim, our IT Manager, and to Mary, our Communications Specialist, for designing that process and implementing it and executing it without a hitch. It was fantastic.
And really, the community aspect to somebody's position like this is very important. So when you were able to have those community gatherings, was it similar to what you've seen where there were kind of in-person? I know we've done, these kind of displays of the public works projects being done and things like that in various community gatherings, but were you able to get the community input like you thought you were going to with these?
We did. I thank the community for participating. We had several introduction videos that we played and put out for the community to view. And then we had one-on-one question and answer periods with members of the community with each of the finalists. And I thought those went very well. And then we had a survey that ran for, I believe, 5 days after that community meet and greet to allow everybody to participate if they so choose. And I was happy with the response we got. The surveys were very informative about how the community viewed the finalists and confirmed my impressions when I interviewed each of the candidates one-on-one.
Well, that's really exciting. And do you have a timeline of when she may be in town? Or
So she is finishing up with San Diego. Her husband's extremely excited to be here. He loves the evergreen forest, and we have plenty of that, and be happy to show him around the community. So she'll be finishing up the background checks and everything formalities that you have to go through the month of November and early December. And I do believe her target to be here is right around New Year Day.
Wow!
So we're ready to go, and we couldn't be more excited.
Well, I look forward to the opportunity to introduce her to the public as well here. So either after the first of the year in person, or if there's a time where we can all set up like a Zoom call, we could try that too, and that'd be great. Pretty amazing. That's the process these days.
It is. We've had to adapt pretty quickly, and I'm thankful that I was able to do it along with the help from my team down at the city.
City Manager Jeff Niten from the City of Shelton here during our Focus on Shelton, presented by our Community Credit Union. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show. I got an email in the other day that said Oly Arts magazine wins International Media Innovator Award. So I clicked on that to take a look and see what's going on. And sure enough, the publisher of Oly Arts magazine is someone familiar to many of us here in the community, Billy Thomas. Billy, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Jeff.
Let's talk a little bit about this magazine, Oly Arts. Olyarts.org is online where you can see it. And how long have you been doing this?
I wear a lot of hats in the community.
Yeah, you do.
But I've been with Oly Arts since about 2018. It was founded a few years before that by my friend Ned Hayes. But I came in and just thought, well, we're doing a great job here in Olympia, but where else can we go? So came out into Mason County, and I'm helping a little bit out here as well.
So COVID obviously has been a huge impact for everybody, but a lot of it, the arts, the live performance space has really taken a major hit over the last couple of months.
Yeah, it really has. We've definitely been affected by it as well. The arts in general are really in a hard spot right now. The performance sector, like you said, we've got local actors and even local producers who are just sort of stuck in this weird limbo. They can't do what they love, so they're trying to find different ways to do this. There's radio plays that are going on right now. So we have like Harlequin Productions has a radio series. Goldfinch Productions is a new one in Lacey by my friend Kevin, and they're doing radio shows as well with KGY in Olympia. And it's just everybody's trying to do the best they can. We have the Washington Center downtown. They're trying to bring in what entertainment they can safely to keep people in touch with the arts. So there's silent movie series, and I believe there are some other smaller productions that are coming into the main stage where people can socially distance. There's like room for 1,000, but they're only bringing in 300 or so to make sure everybody's safe there.
Wow.
But it's been hard, really hard for folks in the arts world. My friend Deborah Van Tynen opened a studio in downtown Olympia. If you're not familiar with her works, she does encaustic paintings. Mm-hmm. They're these kind of abstract paintings of it's like dripping wax. She's pretty prominent. She's featured in local restaurants. She's got her art is on some local wine labels, and she opened a studio in the middle of this pandemic. And she's just trying to do the best she can down there. A lot of local artists have moved online with some of their shops. So that's a way that they can still get their work seen and try to support themselves doing what they love.
What's tough about this is it's kind of almost similar to what you see
in the restaurant industry. There's a lot of, there's a lot of businesses and there's a lot of parts of the economy that are doing well for themselves. The big box stores that have been able to remain open, but restaurants, have had a huge hit. And similarly to live performance, these are things that seem to be the first to get dropped off people's budgets, but and budgets, I mean like kitchen table, personal budgets. Well, we don't have enough to go out to dinner, or we can't go to see a show or something. But It's one of the most important things for a break from what we're doing these days.
Right. I think you're right. It's not only important as a break or an escape, but we access art in ways that we might not realize on a daily basis. So every day when you open your phone and you play whatever your favorite app is to try to escape reality right now, that was designed by a graphic artist. When you turn on your TV, you're seeing actors. Now they're well-known and well-paid actors, but they are doing what they love. I saw recently there was a stream on Halloween that was done by Bette Midler, and it was a project for the New York Restoration Project there, and she had some of her A-list celebrity friends, and they were just streaming from their own home with makeup they had done themselves. And I thought, wow, art is everywhere. And artists are trying as hard as they can to reconnect with people right now. So we access it all the time, every day. The car that you get into on the way to work, that was designed by a group of artists before it went into production. So it's everywhere around you. So it's you can't get away from it.
One of the things, as you mentioned, that artists have had to kind of shift gears and try new things, and it's all about innovation. That's kind of where the award came from. Tell me about how that was bestowed upon you.
Thank you. We got an email. It's been probably a couple of months ago now that there is a company, Corporate Vision, and they have an international awards that they do every year, and it's by nomination. And they said that we had been nominated for an award in the publishing category. And all nominations are anonymous. So if someone who nominated us is listening to the show, I want to thank you for that. But we have tried really hard to keep arts and culture at the forefront of coverage right now. It is something that is hard to keep on not only our personal budgets, but on the budgets of the media sector. And when there's less to have a spotlight on, it does tend to fall by the wayside. And so we thought, well, what can we do here? What's different? We can't talk about upcoming events. There really are none. If there are, they're smaller virtual events that are harder to attend. So we started profiling local artists and arts advocates, restaurateurs, kind of just in the area. And we said, okay, so we'll keep doing that. We'll do that as much as we can. We also had to do a shift away from our bi-monthly print magazine. That's a free community publication that we distribute mostly in Thurston County, but in some areas of Mason as well. The library is a big advocate for that. But you can't distribute a community publication when the community is holed up in their homes. So we said, okay, so it's not going to be distributed. It's also probably not a responsible choice for us to give a free magazine out for people to share with each other. So that opened up some budgets and some timeframes to be able to focus more of that attention on more stories more often about people who are making a difference. And I think that just went noticed. So whoever it was that did notice that, I want to appreciate you for that. But we won the best arts publication in the U.S. As a part of that. So
That's
we're
awesome.
really honored to
That's
have
awesome.
received that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oly Arts is also online again, too, at olyarts.org, where you can find news and information, also a calendar of events and links to their social media accounts. Publisher Billy Thomas is on with me right now, and good to talk with you. Good to see you're well and safe and everything. And
Thank you.
Good job on all this stuff. It's fun.
Thank you very much. The magazine is going strong. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So people, yes, they can go and read it at olyarts.org. The calendar is also a community calendar. So anybody who has an event, you can go ahead and submit at that calendar there, and check it every day, because people are coming up with some really creative ways to share their art.
Billy, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.